Hello and welcome to Happily Ever Reality. Today we are talking about Sister Wives Season 17 Episode 2, and I am so glad you're here. If you're new, be sure to click like and subscribe if you enjoy watching reality TV and talking about reality TV shows. So let's go ahead and get started. So the show starts out with a recap of the previous episode and where we left off, and that is with Christine having a conversation with Kody, explaining to him why she moved his stuff out of the house. Of course, there's also that scene where Kody talks to Robyn, and she suggests that Kody stays with Christine and try to work it out. We also see that Janelle has recently came down with COVID, and so has all of her children. It doesn't show Mary in the preview, but she really didn't have a lot going on like in the last episode, so she wasn't in there. Then we head over to seeing Janelle talk about having COVID. So Janelle says that her symptoms have been very minimal. It's like having a cold and she is a little bit achy. All of her kids are getting over it and so is she. Kody is happy that it hasn't spread through the rest of the family, which is wonderful, even though I think Kody has taken some of his guidelines and rules much further than they needed to and were a little bit unnecessary. And I think there's some other motives there. You know, even though all of that, push that aside, I don't wish COVID upon anyone or any other sickness. So I'm glad the family didn't get it. And I'm glad Janelle had mild symptoms. After hearing them talk about COVID, we switch over to what everyone really wants to know about. And that is Christine and Kody. And Kody says that sometimes he needs alone time, but he can't really get it at Robyn's house because the kids are inside all day long. So sometimes he goes into a closet and sits just to have some privacy and to think. And so we see him sitting in a closet talking about the situation with Christine.
I've struggled to take her seriously about things in the past. And I'm still like wondering, well, is this really real? Is she going to change her mind?
I imagine that's a huge issue for Kody. His relationships with his wives are not good. Mary and him, that's almost not even a relationship. Janelle and him have a friendship. Christine feels neglected. Robyn is the only person who's not complaining. I'm sure Kody is sort of used to having relationship insecurity. And after a while, he probably doesn't take any of those threats seriously. So Kody is doing his closet talk, and while he's in there, he actually says something that I don't know if I can recall him saying anything like this before. He says that he has a lot of thoughts going through his head. He's kind of listing some things, and he says that he's having a hard time holding himself accountable. Like, how was he accountable for what happened? And I'm like, wow, Kody, don't lose that. Like, keep that and like keep it, write it down so you don't forget it, because I think that is just a really big issue with him when you hear him talking about any of his relationships with his wives. From there, we go over to all of the wives talking about how hard a polygamous marriage can be when it comes to time, and Kody not having enough time for all of them. They kind of say the same things they always say, like, oh, it's so hard, and he's always on the go and he keeps himself busy, all of that stuff. But Robyn does give us a few like really good moments here. She lets us know why she has a nanny, and she brings up the issue of there being one wife that's getting more time than the others, and she just hits it head on. Like, she does not hold back. She says they think it's me. So go ahead and listen to Robyn's comments about the accusations that time is not equal.
Different people think that Kody's not being fair with his time, and he really actually is. They're just not tracking it because they're struggling.
So there you have it. Robyn says the whole issue is that all of the other relationships are struggling, and that is what the problem really is. I don't know. As a viewer, I've always felt like he kind of seemed to prefer spending time with Robyn. He definitely doesn't want to spend time with Mary. He says Janelle is a friend, so if it's not with Christine, I feel like Robyn has to be the person who's getting most of his time. But I also know as a viewer, I can't really prove that. The only thing I have going is that I hear the wives and kids say this on social media and on the show. So I would love to know what you think. If you think Robyn is getting most of the time, leave that down in the comment. Let me know how you think the division of time is going on between the wives. But that is not all she gives us. She finally tells us about the nanny. And I can't help but wonder if she did this kind of as a response to Christine in the famous "What does the nanny do?" Like maybe she's decided she's going to answer the question. So here it is.
Kody and I have a lot going on during the day. That's why I have a nanny, so that I can have her help me instead of trying to ask Kody to, help with the kids. It's not really fair of me to ask him to help when he has so many responsibilities and has such a big family.
The timing of Robyn's comment, as far as episodes go, isn't really good timing, because in the previous episode, Christine had confronted Kody about a situation in Lehigh where she had asked him if he would help her because she felt like she was drowning. She felt like she was really overwhelmed with kids and work. And what was happening was at night she was going to work and Aspen was tucking all of the other children into bed. And Aspen was only in 5th grade. And of course, as a mom, I'm sure she felt terrible about that. And she was just really overwhelmed. But Kody said no, it wasn't fair. He needed to help the other wives. They lived in one house. It's craziness to me. But Robyn saying that she can't handle her kids, it's kind of like, well, Christine used to watch all of the kids. And she didn't get a nanny. Like, Robyn, pull it together. And another thing about this is, aren't most of Robyn's kids older? So I'm really confused. Aren't there? Maybe I need to go back and really see the ages of her kids, but aren't most of them in their teen years? So anyway, she does tell us though. Now we know why she needs a nanny. Kody is just too busy and she can't handle it. So the show continues on with Kody having confessionals and talking in the closet. And we get some other commentary from the wives and Christine just about everything going on, really with Christine and Kody. But I wanted to share this little clip of Christine really talking about what was going on within the family.
It's hard to see just such a contrast with Kody, how he is at Robyn's house versus how he is at my house. He's just disengaged at my house. My kids and I hike all the time. We go kayaking all the time. Kody came hiking with us once. And he brought Robyn's kids because he was babysitting them.
I feel like that little clip has a lot to unpack because, one, it's just Christine being honest with how she feels. He wants to be with Robyn. When he's with her, it still feels like he's with Robyn. Then when he does show up to do something with them, he brings Robyn's kids. But we have this other issue, and that is with the word babysitting. And she uses that word, and so does Kody. Here's the thing. We all know that we shouldn't say dads are babysitting their kids, but because of the relationship dynamics here, it almost feels like Kody it is babysitting, because if he loads one wife's kids up, and then goes over to another house, he is essentially babysitting them because normally he wouldn't have them. Like, it's a weird dynamic, but I also don't like the use of the word babysitting. But Christine does use it, and so does Kody. Kody says that he doesn't really watch his kids often because he would rather pay someone and go out and make money. Like, he would rather go to work than watch his kids. So, I don't know. It's Kody for you. So the show goes on a little longer, and they're sort of talking about issues within the family. Christine says that it's very clear to her older children that Kody prefers spending time with Robyn, and they actually talk to her about it, and they, confront the fact that their mom must feel really sad. Robyn does respond to this, but I'm going to put it up here, but I feel like it's the typical Robyn response.
This isn't a new complaint, that Kody favors me. They kind of make assumptions about how he is at my home. I'm not getting some preferential treatment, even though that's what they think. Plural marriage is hard for me too.
I'm sure that plural marriage is hard for Robyn too, but it also is probably a lot easier when your husband seems to want to spend time with you and your kids. So, but that's always kind of her response, is like, oh, it's hard for me too. It's a lot harder when the relationships are really unhappy, or Kody and Mary's case, Kody doesn't even pretend that he likes her. He makes it really obvious that he has no interest in her. So the next thing that happens is really interesting to me because we see Kody back in the closet and he's talking about how Janelle has had COVID and the kids have had COVID in her house. And that means that they now have an immunity and he can go over and visit them. He seems genuinely kind of excited about just getting to go over and hang out. Like, it seems very real. It's not like a fake conversation. You know, sometimes I get those feelings on reality TV shows, like that's scripted or they're just saying that. But like, he is there and he's talking about how they're making plans. And Robyn, once again, gives me just this moment where I'm like, come on, Robyn. But what happens is Kody seems excited and then they pop over to Robyn. And of course, Robyn has something to say about it and manages to say it and frown at the same time. I've tried to do it. I've tried to frown and talk at the same time. It's really not that easy. She is good at it. So listen to what she has to say about Kody going to spend time with Janelle.
Janelle and her kids have gotten over COVID, but we don't know yet if that's like some sort of a safety situation where like he can't get it.
So that is the level of enthusiasm that Robyn has about spending time with the other children and the other wives. That was it. Like, it just felt like a real downer moment. Like, there was no reason to respond like that. She could have said, hey, they might have some immunity and we might get together. But no, that's what she gives us. Even when Kody does seem very excited. So from there, of course, we go back over to Christine and Kody. And I have to tell you something. I loved this next clip. I feel like every episode, Christine responds with something that I just love. And I want you to listen to this. Cody's telling us about COVID. He's still talking about it. And he's talking about how one person can kind of influence a whole family or, you know, the whole world. If you are not quarantining yourself, you can make a lot of people sick. And that's what he's talking about. And she has a response.
Now we're realizing more than ever before during COVID how much one person's actions can affect the rest of the family. So I'm not happy about it, but this is what's going on.
Yes, Kody's actions are in fact, hurting the whole family. It's true.
I love how she says it's true at the end and it just flows right from the other words. But she's right. Kody's actions were affecting the whole family and Kody was right about what he said. So I don't know. I just love that Christine is getting really good at just saying it how it is. And I am really enjoying watching it. So the next part of the show is back to Kody and Christine talking. I'm not going to go into like every moment of them speaking together about the situation, but it's kind of the same thing, like Christine saying, hey, I'm ready to go. This hasn't been working. And then Kody just spews out nonsense. I decided what I was going to do instead of talking about it all was make just like a montage of Kody saying stuff that I think sounds ridiculous. So here it is. Here's Kody using all of his wisdom to discuss his failing marriage.
Part of me wants Christine to admit that she's leaving because of her, not because of me. Like she's been trying to justify her leaving by things I've been doing, not by choices or behaviors that she's had. It feels like just this major injustice that is being done to me, and it galls me. I've only said it a couple times. If you're not happy here, you can leave. I didn't expect that you're not happy here would mean you're going to leave. I don't want her going around the country telling people that I'm a bad person. I feel unmanly, so I'm not going to sit and go, hey, somebody's leaving me. I don't want my other wives to see me as weak. So I don't want to talk about it to them.
I'm not going to add anything to those moments. I think Kody sometimes says all that needs to be said for himself. But I do want to talk about what Kody said here.
Some grief counseling or something. I don't know what's going on here with my attachment. I can't let go.
So Kody is saying here that he doesn't understand what his issue is and that he's really attached to her and he doesn't understand it. But I think if he wasn't attached, that would be more difficult to understand. According to him, he's just being blindsided by his wife when he hears that she wants a divorce. This should be devastating for him. He should be sad. He should feel attached. He should need counseling. But according to Kody, he doesn't really understand why. I think it's more weird that you don't understand why, Kody, than it is weird that it's actually happening. And that isn't the only weird part of the conversation he has with Christine. There was this incredibly weird moment where she says, this is kind of complicated. And what she's talking about is the fact that they have Truly and they have Isabel and they're still kind of young. And I think she's specifically talking about Truly in this situation. So she's saying it's complicated because there's more than just us. And listen to what Kody responds with. Actually, if you are someone who listens, but you don't really watch the screen, this is a good moment to watch because Christine's facial expression, basically she said this is complicated because we have kids. And then Kody responds with the weirdest response, and her face sort of says it all.
How is it complicated? I don't know what's complicated about it. It's like she's chosen to leave. Okay, goodbye.
It's complicated because it doesn't just involve you, Kody. It's not all about you. And according to you, one of your biggest concerns is that you won't get to see Truly. Which is funny because it sounds like you really don't see her that often anyway. But let's just say it is one of your big concerns. It is complicated then. When you have kids and you're getting divorced or separated, it adds a layer to this that makes it more complicated. Her face, though, she's like, are you kidding me? But I think that now that she's being more honest with herself, I'm sure she's making that expression a lot when she talks to Kody. I won't spend any more time going over what Christine and Kody said to each other. If you're really into this part of the story, you're definitely just going to want to watch the show. Though I do start to feel like it's moving a little bit slower with them. I think we're all kind of waiting for the moment where she's telling all the other wives, or at least I am. But it's one of those things where they show Mary and Janelle kind of going, or Mary, Janelle, and Robyn talking about how polygamy is a choice and it's something you have to work at and all that stuff. All the same stuff I feel like they've said for 16 previous seasons. They're just saying it now about Christine. So we're going to move on from them. There's two more kind of stories that happen in this episode. One involves Garrison, which is Janelle's son. I'm actually not going to really put that in here because I feel like it's out of nowhere. And I'm going to make a mini little episode about that one because that's such an interesting little side story. But I am going to keep talking about Christine and Isabel. And Isabel has gotten into college in North Carolina. She has decided to go there. She is going to be living there with Maddie and Caleb, and they're super excited that she's going to move there. It's also really sweet because there is a scene where Christine says that it was important to her to talk to Maddie and know that she was still going to be in Maddie's life once Christine left Kody. And Maddie said, of course, you're always going to be a grandmother to our kids. And I actually got a little teary-eyed. I just felt like it was such a sweet moment because Christine was a part of raising these kids. I'm sure she worries that she won't be in their lives, and she, you're going to miss your family. So Maddie, of course, was fully supportive. And now Isabel is going to live there, but they have to tell Kody. They also have to tell Kody they have to get from Arizona to North Carolina, which, of course, presents a problem to Kody. So go ahead and listen to what Kody says about helping move Isabel to North Carolina.
We have no idea what the pandemic will be like in August. I'm unwilling to make any commitments. We're talking wishful thoughts here at this moment.
So the whole time I'm watching this show, I'm trying to put in what year it is and what's going on. Because if this was in 2020, I would be okay, I get it. He doesn't know what to do. We all didn't know what to do. And depending on where you lived in the US and how they were handling it, this might have made sense. But I'm a little surprised that I think by this point we're in the spring of 2021 or early 2021. Kody still doesn't know what he's going to do. I mean, there were people traveling and there were people going places. I mean, you still had to use precautions. You had to use your brain. You had to bring your mask. You had to bring your hand sanitizer. You had to be smart. Is it worth it to go to somewhere that's really busy or, people are close together? Is it worth it to you? How's your immune system? You had to think, but you could do it. Cody can hop in his car and drive his daughter across the country and really avoid a lot of people. You could pay at the pump and bring your hand sanitizer and put your snacks in the back seat and be just fine. Come on, Kody. This has gone on a long time now. August, I'm assuming it would be August 2021. You've got to be kidding me. You haven't figured out how you're going to function in the world yet? Have you not been putting gas in your car? Are you walking everywhere? I've seen you in your car, Kody. So, no, I'm just over watching dumb excuses. Why doesn't he say, I just don't want to do that, Isabel? So, this video is already so much longer than I wanted to make it. I said it was going to be shorter with these videos, but I have a lot to say sometimes. But I'm going to leave you with 2 more clips. One is of Kody saying that basically his situation with Christine has ruined his relationship with Isabel, and I beg to differ. There are plenty of people who get divorces or are never even in, like, co-parent or never in relationships with the parent of their child, but still can have good relationships with their child. So if you're failing at this, Kody, that sounds like a personal issue. And then we kind of get a glimpse of what's coming next. And if you watch the end of this episode, I think you know exactly where this is going with him taking Isabel to North Carolina. So I kind of look forward to what's coming next, and I hope Janelle lets him have it. It does look like she is pretty assertive about what she thinks. So I'm looking forward to episode 3 of season 17. So here are the last 2 things I want to show you.
I feel broken. And Isabel's leaving. And it's a heartbreak to me that she's leaving under these circumstances, that whatever has happened with me and Christine has left her and I with this crap relationship where I'm just trying to reach to her.
You could still go see her in the backyard or something.
People make effort or they don't. When it comes to smaller children, I want to make an effort.
Okay, so if you just watched that and you were actually watching the screen, I just need to know, if you're still hanging in there with me, was Robyn's face, like, is she angry? If I was on the other side of that and I was a wife hearing that the father of my children wasn't going to show up for some huge milestone, and I was looking at her and thought she might have been the person behind it, I would be furious, because her facial expression just adds this additional layer. Like, does this lady smile anymore? Anyway, that is all for today. If you managed to stick with me until this point, the end here, go ahead and click like and subscribe. I'm going to try to make these shorter. Kody just gives me so many things I want to share. If you hear some background noise, my children are jumping all over in the upstairs of the house. You can kind of hear it. But go ahead and click like and subscribe if you enjoy reality TV. I will try to make these shorter. I look forward to seeing the next episode. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this one. It was pretty good.